Welcome into Sports Tonight. It is Wednesday, August the 7th. Emily Gagnon here along with Ellie Parker. What's up, Ellie?
Nothing much. Just
Having a good week?
It's Wednesday.
It's middle of the week, but so far so good for you?
So far, so good. So far, so good.
So far so good with UGA. They
Yeah.
continue fall camp. It's week 2 for the Dogs. They got started last Thursday, I believe, officially. Yesterday, you guys got to hear from Glenn Schumann, the defensive coordinator. Today, you'll get to hear from the co-defensive coordinator, Tavares Robinson. Quite a difference between these two guys, and you'll notice it right away if you saw yesterday's show. Schumann does not speak much. He's
No.
more on the quiet side. He doesn't want to be the loudest person in the room. And then you've got T-Rob, Coach T-Rob, who is the exact opposite, who is the loudest in the room. He's full of energy.
Sometimes you need that dichotomy.
You actually do, because if you're a young player, you gravitate more than likely more towards T-Rob than you do Schumann. But Schumann is so intelligent and knows the playbook and is very, very football smart, along with T. That's not saying he isn't. But there's just a difference between the two, and you notice it right away. And players really do like Tavares. He's known as one of the best recruiters in the country. So I do know players like him because he's able to get these guys to come to Georgia. Every place he's gone, he's been able to recruit some of the best players in the country. So let's hear from him right away. His very first press conference as a Dog.
Hey, how y'all doing? Very excited about this opportunity. I'm excited to be at University of Georgia and get a chance to meet you guys. As we go through this entire process, hopefully I'll get a chance to see you guys around and build relationships with you guys. Up for questions, what we got?
Yeah, Coach, you spent almost a decade under Coach Muschamp, or with Coach Muschamp, spent a couple years with Coach Saban, and obviously now here with Coach Smart. What do those guys, if anything, have in common, and do they share a common ideal about the defensive backfield?
Yeah, obviously, both of those guys, Coach Smart and Coach Muschamp, obviously worked with Coach Saban for a long time. And some of the core values of the organization and how we do things is something that they really, really looked at. And you can tell that there's been a really good job of learning from Coach Saban and doing those things. But I think, as I got here at the University of Georgia, I saw that Coach Smart was able to take some of the things that we did at Alabama and expound upon those things. And I think, from a effort for how we practice, the energy, the different things that we do, I think is very important. And he does a great job of doing that.
Obviously, you had a very good situation at Alabama. You had a good situation most of your career. How much of an influence was Coach Muschamp just on convincing you to come here and just all the dominoes that had to fall to make that happen? And then if you could expound a little bit just on your relationship, what he's done for you professionally.
Been with Coach Muschamp for a long time. I GA'd for him at Auburn, worked with him at University of Florida, was his defensive coordinator at South Carolina. He's a guy that's been a mentor to me, father figure. And everything that I've done in my career, he always assisted me in. When he told me that he was looking into not being here full time, but being here a lot of the time, it's something that I wanted to do because he wanted someone, because he's a big-time Georgia guy, obviously played here and did those different things, and he wanted to pass that torch to somebody that he felt that can come in and kind of run things like he did. And I was excited about that call when Coach Saban retired. Coach Smart called me, and Coach Muschamp and him got on the phone and told me exactly, what it was going to be, and I was excited to do it. And I wanted to be a part of the same type culture, the same type environment, and I thought this was the best thing for me to do.
When we talked to Malachi in the spring, he talked about getting here at like 4:35 in the morning and running with you. What's it been like building a relationship with Malachi, and just what have been your impressions about him to this point?
Man, what a great kid. I talk to my kids a lot about Malachi. Malachi is a guy who you want your son to be like. I'll give you a quick story. Malachi, I was gaining a little weight, okay? All right, so I'll be the first person to say it. I was gaining a little weight. I told Malachi I'm finna start running. And he was like, okay, what time you gonna run? So I said 5:30. So he says, okay. So I get in at 5:30, and Malachi's in the dang indoor waiting on me. All right, so I run the first day. All right, so I'm like, all right. So he said, hey, what time we coming tomorrow, Coach? So I said, all right, we're going to come at 5:30 again. Same thing. So then the next day, I was my knee was bothering me a little bit. So I said, I ain't going to run tomorrow. All right. But I wasn't going to tell Malachi that. So I get home. It's probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I get a text from Malachi. Hey, what time we going, coach? All right. And Malachi a lot faster than me, in case you guys are wondering. And that's even when I played. All right. So, he's straining. He's doing all the things. But it's the same thing he does on the field. Right, he's holding people accountable. I think that's one of his greatest traits. Yes, he's a good football player. Yes, he's a great ball hawk, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, Malachi holds people accountable, and he holds himself accountable. That's why he's a good player.
Yeah, just with Will moving into an analyst role, what does his role look like, and how helpful has he been in terms of getting you up to speed with this program?
His role looked like same thing when he was a head coach, when he was coming down my neck every single day. I mean, he's in every single meeting with me, bothering me all the time. So it's crazy, man. My entire career, whether it's been Coach Muschamp, Coach Saban being in the room. Now I'm at a place, I'm at the University of Georgia. Coach Smart's in the defensive back room. He's a DB guy. Coach Muschamp's in the DB room. Coach Dante's in the DB room. I mean, it's like an AFCA clinic every single day, man. And but at the end of the day, man, it's been great. I really enjoy Coach Muschamp being here and helping me kind of get through the process of learning how we do things, because some of the things that we do here is a little different than what we did at Alabama. Kirby's done a really good job, and Coach Schumann has changing some of the different things that we did and making it not as complex. And I think our guys are able to play faster because of that.
You mentioned Dante there. Just what stands out to you about him as a coach, and how do the two of y'all work together coaching the entirety of the secondary, but obviously different positions?
Yeah, I've been knowing about Coach Dante for a long time. He's been kind of, I guess, the T-Rob on the West Coast. All right, coaching all those guys. We heard about him in recruiting, had some really good recruiting battles with him. But he's a very personable guy. He's a guy that has a lot of energy. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, all right, but one time I was out at practice, I guess my first or second day, and I see a guy running down the field with a helmet on, but he had no jersey. So I was like, well, who don't have a jersey at practice? I thought he was a player. It was Dante going there doing some different things with the corners, working on back shoulder fades and different things like that. And I asked him, because he's kind of a pretty boy, he's a good-looking guy. And he said to me, he did it before when he was places at other places, and he got hit in the face. All right, so he started putting on a helmet because of that. But Dante's a really good dude, very smart coach, very excited to get a chance to work for him. He's a relentless recruiter, and I'm excited to get a chance to work with him here at Georgia.
Coach, I asked Glenn Schumann a second ago about Jonero Guerrero, who's kind of stepping into a role. Tyke Smith plays so well. You have some other guys play that spot. Javon did a little bit as well. I mean, your first impression working with him, or what steps that you think he's made so far?
I'll tell you what, the good thing about these guys, I recruited a lot of these guys. So I had a previous relationship with Jonell. So always knew they was very explosive, knew he got great coverage ability and different things like that. So getting a chance to come here and watch him develop and learn the system and learn how we do things and why we do things has been very good. I thought he did a really good job in spring, and he's processing through camp. And I think he's doing an amazing job of learning how we do things and trying to do what we're asking him to do. But he's a talented guy. We're in a competition battle all across the board. Like we told our guys, first day we stood up, Malachi Starks, guess, two-time All-American. He don't have a job. The motto this year is assume nothing. So if everybody take that approach of assume nothing, everybody will get better. And I think Jonell has kind of tuned to that, and he's doing a really good job with the reps that he's getting out in camp.
Are you and Malachi still doing the morning runs, or is that a spring thing?
No, I'm not, as you can tell. No, Malachi, obviously we in camp right now, so he ain't getting up doing that with me right now. But I need to take my butt back out there and start running. So maybe I need to hold him, hold me accountable again.
I don't want to assume anything here, but I'll be the first to ask, can you compare Kirby and Saban on the field to each other personality-wise after 2 seasons with Saban?
All right, first of all, I would say, you see this microphone right here? All right, that would probably be the main difference. As far as from the energy and different things like that and getting after guys and holding guys accountable, I would say is equal. Say the same thing. I would say the microphone, getting that public talk to, because it's a little different now. All right, when a guy come run to you and tell you something, or when you hear it on that microphone and your players hear him talking to you, hey, T-Rob, this guy don't know what he's doing, or you don't know how to coach it. All right, so it holds everybody accountable. It's really good, and anybody can get it, man. That's the great thing about this place. Coach Saban has been a mentor to all of us. We talk to him all the time. He's a guy who everything we learn from him, and he's been great to us. So excited about those guys and excited to be here.
Coach, real quick, can you talk to us about your freshman secondary guys? You had a really upper class in recruiting. Can you kind of compare and contrast some of those guys and what you've seen the first few days of camp?
The guy's doing a really good job. You look at from the safety position, we brought in KJ Bolden. We brought in Colin Gill, who's a guy that transferred in from Oregon. We brought in those guys, and those guys learning the system, learning how we do things. KJ's really doing a good job with the reps that he's getting. Obviously, he was here earlier. He was a mid-year, so you know that helps. It helps a lot because he kind of understands exactly what we expect from him. The drills that we're out there introducing to him, he's done them before, so nothing's new to him. So it gives him a little, confidence that he can go out there and get it done. When you talk in terms of corners, you look at Ellis, you look at Andre, you look at some of those guys, and DeMello. Those guys have done a really good job. They got a chance to be really good football players, but they're learning. And this is their, I guess, 5th day of practice, going into their 6th day of practice in fall camp. And those guys going against some of the best athletes in the country. And they're doing a good job of trying their best to hold their own. But it's a lot. It's a big learning curve. It really is. It's a big difference between high school and college. And those guys are learning how to do things the right way and do it the right time because they've always been the best athletes. But it's different when you get to college. I mean, the higher you go up in sports, all right, the competition becomes so much greater. And those guys are at the best place in the country, and they're going against the best athletes in the country, and they're doing a good job of getting better.
All right, Travaris Robinson, in case you don't recognize him, might want to start recognizing him, co-DC at UGA. Like I said before, we played some of his interview. One of the best recruiters in the country, gets some of the best players at any program he is. And great addition to the coaching staff. Kirby, Dogs fans, everybody is going to be very happy with him. I have known him for as long as I can remember, and he's as solid as they come. So, from good news to bad news. You want to take this one away or you want me to do it?
From good news to really bad news, new Falcons wide receiver Rondale Moore was carted off the field this afternoon at the Falcons joint practice with the Miami Dolphins down in Miami with a leg injury. Apparently was pretty bad. They had to put him in an air cast in a cart, and they just ended practice immediately. The Falcons all surrounded him. Bijan Robinson led a prayer. So they have not released what the injury is yet. From everyone's reactions on the scene, it sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are in Atlanta. We are not down in South Florida, so we're basing everything off of reports. But yeah, as soon as it happened, everyone around him got down, started praying, carted off the field. Apparent leg injury, severe leg injury.
Yeah.
We do not, as you said, have official word on what the exact injury is. But, Ellie, we talk about it every preseason. This is what you hate to see. I mean, you hate to see it during
especially,
the preseason, regular
especially
season,
since
whatever.
This was a guy
But
who had slowly been getting more first-team reps. This particular injury happened with the second-team reps. So it happened when he was getting reps with the second team, but he'd been slowly getting more first-team reps, so we may have seen him on the field in the first few weeks, barring this.
Yep.
And, of course, this is what happens to him.
yeah, working so hard to get some reps, to get on the field, to hopefully get in a game, gets injured. Again, looks like a very bad injury. No official word yet on what it is. But I would have to assume, based off reports, we probably won't see him on a field again until next season. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's my assumption as well. Obviously, you're hoping that is not the case, that he can come back before the end of the season. But that doesn't seem likely at this point, judging from how everyone on the field reacted.
Yeah, you don't like it. They play their first preseason game, though, if we just want to stay on the Falcons really quickly, Friday. I think it's 7 o'clock from Miami Gardens, where the Dolphins play. And I don't know if you've seen this, Ellie, but I'm sure you have. Michael Penix Jr. is going to play. I know that it wasn't like we didn't think he was going to, but Raheem Morris didn't really want to talk about the quarterback rotation during preseason. He is now. He's not afraid to say we will see Michael Penix Jr. more than likely will not see Kirk Cousins. I don't expect to see him, but you never do know.
You never know.
And Raheem kind of is keeping it open. He's like, I don't want to speak for him, but basically paraphrasing here, he's like, you'll see him very little if you see him at all, basically, type deal.
Yeah.
And then you'll see also, once they're done with Penix Jr., they will then move on to the two other quarterbacks they have on the roster. Why is it slipping my memory?
It
Guy from last year.
Taylor Heineke.
Yes, Heineke, and then there's another guy who will come in and rotate. So preseason play starting Friday, and for anybody who wanted to see Michael Penix Jr. in a Falcons uniform playing a real game against competition
Here's
that
your
isn't his
chance.
teammates, you're 2 days away.
Even more bad news for the Braves. Oh, geez. Did you watch last night's game?
Listen, Ellie, I put it on, and it was 6-0 when I put it on, and I want to say it was in the third inning. Okay?
Yeah,
And I thought to myself, I don't need to watch this anymore.
Got
They're not coming
absolutely
back from this.
trounced by the Milwaukee Brewers 10-0, and due in no small part to starter Bryce Elder, who gave up 8 runs and 7 hits, including 2 home runs in 3 2/3. This is a former All-Star. He has not exactly had the greatest season so far, so the Braves are sending him back to AAA Gwinnett, and they are calling up left-hander Dylan Dodd, who has had a couple stints on the Major League roster over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's so hard to. I just keep thinking, like, I think I've said this several times this season. I keep thinking, like, they're going to go on a run. They're going to get there. And they kind of they win. They went on a baby run with 5 straight wins.
They won 6 of 7.
Yeah.
And now they've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, and in the worst kind of way, right? So 2
Absolutely the
straight
worst kind of way.
shutouts. And listen, I don't know if you saw this, but it's their first 2 like back-to-back shutouts in 9-inning games in a decade, in over a decade. It last happened in April of 2014. So
That was when they were playing at the TED.
it's been a while, right? It's been a while since they've been shut out in back-to-back games.
And this is not something you can take in a very competitive NL East. Obviously, you've got the Phillies running away with it, but you've got the Mets right on your heels, and they're hot.
Wait, have we checked in on the standings lately? I like to do this with you. You looking it up real quick? So right now, so they were shut out by the Brewers last night. Awful game, as Ellie just mentioned. But tonight they're back at it at 7:20. Tomorrow they'll play the Brewers again. So it's a 3-game set. So we'll see if they can get back on track. But go ahead, give it to us. NL East.
Phillies are 67 and 46. Braves are 6.5 behind at 60 and 52. The Mets are 8.5 behind the Phillies at 59 and 54. The Nationals are 15.5 behind at 52 and 62. And the Marlins are 25.5 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies at 42 and 72. And the Marlins are a whole different story altogether. I could go on about that for 10 minutes.
10?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
You know, I love their colors and their mascot.
I've definitely grown on their branding since they introduced it in 2012.
Yeah.
I still prefer the original
Do you?
pinstripes, Florida branding, the classic Marlin on the logo. I still prefer that personally, but it has grown on me. Put the statue back in left field.
Oh man, I just like the aqua color. I like the fish. I like all the things. So keep doing it to it. Remember when they were the Florida Marlins?
Yes.
But I like Miami Marlins better.
Miami Marlins rolls more off the tongue.
Right, and I also think I don't like when teams do that, where they're basically claim the whole state.
To be fair,
Come on, let's be fair.
they were first. When they were the Florida Marlins,
They were the only ones.
They were the only ones. The Tampa Bay Rays didn't exist yet. So same thing for the Texas Rangers. You think about the Texas Rangers or the Colorado Rockies, the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're the only teams in the state. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, but also
if
you're
there's multiple-
cocky
if
enough
there-
to think there might not be somebody else joining you.
Okay, to be fair, you look at Phoenix,
you want to
Denver.
be fair today, don't you?
I'm playing devil's advocate today.
No, I like it. That's what this show's about.
You look at a place like Phoenix. You look at a place like Denver. They're not going to stick another team in those two cities. Obviously,
No,
Florida's
you're right.
different. They stuck a team down in Tampa. Whether or not they should have.
No, but don't you think that they've been more successful than the Marlins, anyways? They went to a World Series,
The Marlins have won, too.
but like in recent history.
Yes, in recent history, they've been infinitely more successful than the Miami Marlins. But neither of these teams can put butts in seats.
No, they can't because it's Florida. Welcome to the state where people have so many options of so many things to do, and it's so warm out that they can just do whatever they want. Like, okay, haven't we talked about this before, you and I? How when LeBron James played for the Miami Heat, the Heat still didn't sell
Yes.
out. And when they were in the playoffs, again, with LBJ, people wouldn't show up till like after halftime. It's just like one of those deals. It's Miami. People
right,
just
fair
don't
enough,
get their
fair enough.
booties into the seats. But in Tampa or in St. Pete, I don't know.
It's because the stadium's in a bad spot. And
It is.
hopefully the new stadium that they're sort of rumbling about is in a slightly better spot. It's easier for crowds to get to the games because the Rays are good. And hopefully they get a owner with a little more money so that they can combine that great development and great scouting with an owner with actual money instead of Stu Sternberg. Again, story for another time.
Yes, Paris. Why didn't you put Olympics? Yay or
because
whatever.
because
Olympics
this was I just kept it from a couple days ago. But yay, Olympics. This morning, Hampton Morris, Marietta native, 20 years old, became the first U.S. man to medal in weightlifting in 40 years, since 1984, since the last games in Los Angeles.
Wow.
So it's been quite a while. Hampton Morris won bronze to put an Olympic medal on his already extensive resume. This man is 20 and he is one of the best weightlifters in the world. He
he's still
trains
here.
out in his garage in Marietta.
That's awesome.
The dude doesn't use like an actual like full-on gym, just his garage with his dad.
But that goes to show you don't need a fancy place and you don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't need to do a lot of things to be
Granted,
great
this
at
man
your
is,
craft.
yes, he's not to discount the amount of training and repetition and all of that goes into being an Olympian. The dude's also just big. Like weightlifter big. I'm not talking, I'm not trying to make a joke about it, but like the dude is just built like a weightlifter.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. That's great. We love to hear it, love to see it, especially you, since you were the Olympic
I'm the Olympics
queen,
nerd
okay?
on the sports staff here.
I love that.
This is my thing. This is my thing. And elsewhere in the games, elsewhere, because there are a lot of Olympic events. The U.S. men's made the Olympic semifinals. They will face Serbia again. The last time they faced Serbia was in group play, where they won by more than 30 points. So obviously, for the United States, you're hoping for that kind of result again.
Yep.
If you're Serbia, you're hoping something a little bit different to get to the gold medal game. And I don't know if we've talked about this in the past, but
Let's talk about it again if we have.
if we have, you look at Simone Biles and the rest of the women's gymnastics team getting gold in the all-around, and then you had two Americans getting silver and bronze in the individual all-around behind Rebecca Andrade of Brazil, who is now the most decorated Olympian in Brazilian history, which is kind of cool to see
So cool.
somebody take that record. So the Olympics end in 4 days, on the 11th. Let's hope that the closing ceremony comes anywhere close to the opening ceremony. I've talked about it before. I thought it was awesome. The closing ceremonies are obviously quite a bit different. Some of the rumors that I've heard about the handoff between Paris and LA, about how they're going to handle that, are wild. I've heard it involves Tom Cruise skydiving. So hopefully they pull off some pretty cool stuff, although the closing ceremonies are usually a bit more of just a big party because, hey, it's the end of the Olympics. It's the ceremony where instead of all the athletes marching in country by country, they all go together and the flags go in front of them to sort of represent unity and just, the joy of, hey, we all had some fun. We all did great. It's the Olympics. If you were here to begin with, you're pretty good at what you do.
Yes, you are. And Ellie, so you're Sunday, right?
Yes,
Sunday.
Sunday.
It's done.
Yes.
So we won't have any like Olympics yay anymore topics.
Oh. No. We're not done.
Okay, so
Because I am disabled. I am one of like the 3 people in the United States who cares about the Paralympics.
well, it's all right.
So
We're
we're
gonna
not
keep talking-
done.
so we're
We're
gonna
going
keep
to keep talking about
And
it.
how long does that
They're
go?
another 2 weeks. They go until about September. So we're not done talking
We're
about the
nowhere
Olympics
near
and the
done.
Paralympics. I will keep going on about it because the Paralympics are awesome. You should still be paying attention and giving these athletes with disabilities the same amount of love that you're giving the able-bodied athletes.
And can you really quickly look up medal count, or do you know? Because I feel like somebody like
The
you
U.S.
like, knows.
is far and ahead out. The U.S. has 27 gold medals.
And who's closest to them?
China with 25.
Nice. Okay. That's
In
pretty
terms
close.
of total medal count,
Yeah.
the U.S. has 94.
Yes.
China is next with 65.
Okay. So total medal count. Well, right now it's good across the board, but
the U.S. wins much across the board, which draw on certain parts of sports TikTok. The Australian media was, let's say, getting a bit big for their britches early on because they were saying, oh, we're beating the United States. Yeah, no.
it's like, hey, pump the brakes.
And imagine how bad it's going to be when they host the Olympics in 8 years in Brisbane. Boy. So
You are like, look how far ahead you are. We're not just talking about Olympics for 2 more weeks after the Olympics are over. We're
I'm
talking
going.
about
I
Olympics
love the Olympics, bro.
forever.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's all right.
I'm not gonna lie.
I love that you love them. So far, do you have a favorite moment?
Pommel horse man, Steven
Still?
Dodorovic. Yes, still my favorite, and the Turkish shooter because the shooters, man, they're awesome.
Wait, my sister might have been the one, or it's either my sister or you who told me when he takes his glasses off, he can't really see that well, and he does everything
just
by
does it.
feel.
He just does it.
And I'm
Dude
like,
is awesome.
wait, what? Like, I guess that would be the case anyways, because more than likely, I'm thinking you can't really see even when you're doing.
I can see fairly well right now. I'm relatively farsighted, but I also have like big words in front of me on the teleprompter.
But if you're like upside down or doing whatever,
if you're doing what the man does, that
I
man
don't
does in
think
the
you
pommel
would see
horse.
anyways,
Oh
right?
boy.
It would probably be more by feel and by just like being agile and all that. But his story is very interesting. So, and what's the moment you're looking forward to the most? I'm not talking about the closing Olympics. Like what sport, anything?
Give me a men's basketball gold medal.
Okay.
That's the one thing that everyone in this country agrees. Like the U.S. Like if we don't gold medal, something is wrong.
Okay.
Because it's our sport.
Yeah, but it's happened before.
It's happened before.
So it could happen again. Let's
Doesn't
hope
mean
not.
it should.
All right, Ellie.
What's on my mind?
Yeah. What's on your mind? I know you've got
The
a good one
Chicago
today, I
White
can tell.
Sox
I know.
finally
Here
won
we
a
go.
baseball game. After 21 straight losses, they beat the Oakland A's last night. After the A's played Taylor Swift's 22 during batting practice, therefore jinxing it because, of course,
Also, like they're the A's, right? So
they're the A's. But the A's are 20 games better than the White Sox right now. This is a terrible, terrible team. They might not win 40 games this season. They might not. They're that bad.
What was the record? I saw it was like 23, like a streak of 23. Or
Record was
25?
streak of 23,
Okay.
held by not the 62 Mets, a Phillies team in the 60s, I believe.
Okay.
Full faith and belief. But yeah, so they actually won a game for once.
It must have felt
Must have felt great for them.
like they probably celebrated like they had just won the World Series.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. I can't be telling you guys what's on my mind because we got to go. Emily, have a great night.